actually.
Yeah, we opened the new Traumatic Brain Injury Center.
Yeah.
In Bethesda.
That's going to be Maryland, right?
That's in Bethesda, Maryland, right?
Yeah.
So that's open. That's operating now.
I'd like to see all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'd love to get you down there to say hello to the troops who are in there.
Great, yeah.
The center in San Antonio that we opened, that's been open almost 4 years now.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
but 2007, right?
2007.
Yeah.
January 2007, and I mean, it's not a number you particularly want to say because I'm sure the need is there, but thousands of soldiers have gone through there, and
sure.
We're happy that at least. We're sorry that they have the need for the center, but we're very happy the center is there for
Well, the government does all they can, but you guys really, it's the icing on the cake, and there's nothing worse than a head injury trauma.
Right.
That is the worst.
Right.
You can't do any worse than that. So
right. It sounds like you've been doing your research.
Sure, I have.
You kind of know that.
I'm Eddie Money. I want to launch the Intrepid Museum. I'm very happy 30th anniversary. Love it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I was in the Air Force 20 years. When I was over in Europe, we had a competition called Tiger Meets. And it was all the NATO countries, and we'd all get together, and they graded everything. How pretty the airplanes were, and how sharp the troops were, to how fast the pilot could launch, and actually the accuracy of the pilots putting weapons on targets. Engine changes, they had a stopwatch, everything was a competition. Every single aspect of the Tiger Meets was a competition. One year the Italians showed up. They were called Tiger Meets, right? The Italians showed up in F-104s and they painted the whole goddamn thing with a tiger. It was beautiful, right? So then everybody started doing it. Right about 2 years later, that's when the Poles joined NATO, right? And they showed up with them painted like this. Right. But that's a Russian-built MiG-21, wow. Now serving in a NATO country. Wild, huh? Yeah, that's wild. But so you're talking about mid-90s now.
The Army, that's the Army.
When they gave that to us as a gift, it was just all. What's that one behind that? That's a French Defender. They still fly it. They mostly use those off the aircraft carriers. And they carry infantry like this all the time. Like an Israeli airplane too. So, this is an Israeli-built airplane. What they had French Mirage jets. Okay. We were giving them F-4 Phantoms. That's the F-4 right there. That's the Phantom. During after the '67 war, everybody put it in one top here. So what you do is you pull this handle right here. Once you yank that, these things, if the canopy doesn't blow off and get out of your way, these things will just punch and you'll go through. Wow. Because your head is down lower here. So you're wearing the parachute harness. This is the risers actually that goes down into the parachute. Right. After the sheet, it's got a little rocket motor it shoots out. Right, sure. You're breathing oxygen. Down underneath your seat, there's a little survival kit. Wow. That survival kit can be different from wherever you are. If you're flying over jungle, it's jungle shit. If you're flying over water, it's going to have a life raft. If you're flying over the desert, it's going to have cans of water and reflective blankets and things like that. So once the rocket motor takes you out, the little tiny parachute can come out of you. It's small. All that's meant to do is to keep you from it's a little tiny thing, it's only about 5 feet diameter. It just kind of steadies you. It's amazing. There's a little brain inside here. Oxygen bottle down here. This is the brains of it. This thing will say, all right, I'm at 25,000 feet. There's not a lot of air to breathe. So it doesn't let you go. It's falling like a stone. You're strapped to the seat. You got the little chute just keeping your feet down, heads up. You're falling like a stone. Once you get down to 10,000 feet, you can breathe on your own. So this thing will cut you loose from the seat. So that little parachute will fall away, and as you come loose from the seat, the big parachute comes out. So you'll fall slower, the seat will fall on your body. You'll fall slower. Wow. But the seat's got to know when you're at 10,000 feet. It won't let you loose sooner because it's attached to the oxygen system. So, but seats today, you can be upside down, the seat comes out and says, you're upside down, it will bring you back up right side up before it puts you down. So that's why you see some of these guys. Look at that, it's amazing. Flying machines all their own. See those two nozzles? Yeah. Right here? Yes. So there's one engine in there. Right? This whole nozzle can turn. Wow. Straight down. And actually you can face a little forward so you can fly backwards. But then they rotate it and it flies forward. That's cool shit.
There would be 50 or 60 zeros sitting up over the target waiting for us with an altitude advantage. So we'd have to dogfight these guys plane by plane, minute by minute, until we got the bombers reformed and out of there again. If you were going to survive, you'd have to stay with your wingman. Your wingman would have to stay with you. If you win, you win. If you don't get back. I lost my very best friend the first day of combat. Never seen him again. That's part of war. Not the easy part.
The special attack was not an attack. It was an act of defense. They were acting to defend their loved ones, parents, siblings, the weak, to protect them.
On the times we were hit, we lost a lot of very close crew members. And the average, I would say the average crew member on that ship at the time was probably 19 years of age. We were very young. If somebody got killed, you know, you didn't have somebody to run to and pour your heart out to. You had your shipmates. And they were scared and you were scared, but you always did what you had to do. You always did your duty, and if you didn't, this ship wouldn't be here today.
During the Cold War, we practiced the launching of conventional weapons, but we also practiced low-level simulated strikes into the Soviet Union with nuclear weapons. And the threat of the Soviet Union was real, and we felt that when we were deployed to the Mediterranean that we were in the front line of defense.
We felt like we were out there making sure that the Russians wouldn't drop anything on the United States, because we were out there ready to retaliate if we had to. And it was a feeling of doing something important. That was really one of the most pervasive feelings, that we were out there really making a difference in preventing World War III from starting.
Preeminence in space was a condition of our freedom. The people on the other side of the Iron Curtain thought the same thing, and it was that competition which drove us more than even the curiosity that goes with pioneering. The first thought that I had when I got into orbit was not something involving pioneering. It was, hooray, we Americans have another man in orbit, and now we're tied with the Soviets.
We were right at the height of the Cold War, and the communists had vowed that they were going to take over and conquer the world. We had the choice: either we were going to go to Vietnam and try and help South Vietnam, or we could stand by and do nothing and let the communists just do what they wanted and take over the world, which we weren't going to do.
They were flying 18 hours a day. The poor guys that worked on the flight deck they would just fall out on a plane's wing for a half-hour cat nap between launches and then be back. And but then again, we always knew we had friends that were laying in the mud over there. Most of us had people that wanted to join the Marines or the Army or different places, so we were doing our job to maybe make their job a little easier.
I think most of the American people realized that what we did there, we did in the best interest of the people we were trying to help. It just didn't work out, so I think there were lessons learned. When I came home, I really had an appreciation for what our country really is, the freedoms we have, and why, you know, so many of us were willing to go there and fight to protect these things that we take for granted every day. And as Paul Galani, one of the other POWs, has said, he says, you can never have a bad day when you got a doorknob on the inside the door. That's profound.
I believe you're selling some type of commemorative t-shirt as well?
Yes, we have actually we're selling t-shirt, One More Soldier Coming Home t-shirts, and we're donating all the money, of course, to the Intrepid San Diego.
Fantastic. Now, on a personal level, I got to ask, what have you been doing? Where have you been traveling? You're everywhere.
We've got a lot of shows coming. You know, I tell everyone I feel like I got 5 kids up because anything to get out of the house. But we got a lot of great shows. Go to my website, anymoney.com. My daughter's been singing with me, and business has been great. We got a lot of great friends out there, and I'm just really involved in this whole project right now.
Wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to coming out to your concert in Massapequa July 19th. I already put the date in my calendar, and I want to thank you for coming out today and chatting with us.
Thank you. I want to thank Channel 11. Jill, you're great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We miss you at the studio. You going to come in soon?
I'm going to come in and say hi.
Perfect. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.